PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to September, and welcome to another episode of PACTV Community News. Summer is coming to a close, but things are just heating up in our communities. The fall is a busy time on the South Shore, and PCN is bringing you the stories.
And this week we have another packed show as we bring you to a climate change workshop in Plymouth, a dojo open house in Kingston, and a Habitat House ribbon cutting in Duxbury.
We hear more good news from good deeds in Pembroke, and we listen to the community reactions to Harper Lee's new book.
We stop and do a Hop Fest event at Cordage Park in North Plymouth, and Drs Orders and BID Plymouth brings us some allergy information.
It's going to be a great show, and we begin with Kingston's plans for an adaptive playground. A motivated teacher's assistant from Kingston Elementary School has secured starter funds from the Kingston Community Preservation Committee to begin plans for an adaptive playground for children with and without disabilities to be built on school grounds. PCN met up with Debbie Grace at the location of this future playground.
My name is Debbie Grace, and I'm a teaching assistant here at the Silver Lake Integrated Preschool. And our project's name is called the Silver Lake Integrated Preschool Playground Project. I know it's a mouthful, but it's a lot of good stuff packed into that one little title there. And we are hoping to build in this space a fully handicapped accessible playground for children ages 3 to 5. We're still in the fundraising phase right now. We've raised about $44,000 out of the $150,000 that we need to raise for the project. So it's come through personal funds, it's come through grants, it's come through a grant from the town of Kingston, and we just received our nonprofit status from the IRS, which is awesome. That opens up all kinds of new doors for us.
Well, our playground is going to be a community build, which means we can have people from the community help build it on the day that it is going to be chosen to be built once all the infrastructure is prepared. We're having a very therapeutic play space is what we like to call it, where it's very safe, it's sensory based, and there's lots of opportunities for the children to access equipment and play with their peers. And that's kind of the goal of the whole program, is to have them be able to play with kids at different levels.
On September 25th at the Knights of Columbus in Kingston, we're having a trivia night, and our motto is, are you smarter than a preschooler? And we're challenging people to come out for that. It's going to be a silent auction evening as well, raffle items. We've got some amazing things. We have a Pedro Martinez signed baseball the day after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in Boston. We also have a weekend up at Loon Mountain for families to go skiing. We have a condo in Mexico for a week on the auction table. And then we have 42 Degrees North that's down in Manomet. Excellent food. They're doing the catering for the event. And it's going to be a great night.
We also have Representative Coulter coming as a MC, and will speak on our behalf as well. So we're looking to raise about as much money as possible for the preschool playground at that time. It's going to be from 7 to 9, a great opportunity for the community to come out and support their playground.
We've had the wonderful opportunity to be gifted a number for the Boston Marathon. So Police Officer Ryan Coulter, who is Representative Coulter's son, is going to be running the race on our behalf, which is great, and Ryan is so excited about it, and he's going to have some of his own fundraising activities coming up in the future to look for those too. And we are hoping to have a site where a child who is in a wheelchair can actually play with their friends side by side, that they can swing together side by side, something that a child in a wheelchair hardly ever gets to do. And we are hoping that this will just open up all kinds of opportunities for all of our children to play together.
South Shore Habitat for Humanity recently broke ground on their third affordable home in Duxbury. Local residents, businesses, and members of the faith community will volunteer time in the next 10 months to build this single-family dwelling. PCN was on site for the event to hear more from the people and organizations who have worked to bring this home to its humble beginning.
Habitat for Humanity is a global brand, but here on the South Shore Habitat for Humanity, our mission is to provide simple, decent, and affordable homes in partnership with families in need in the community. This project here in Duxbury will be our 56th home. We're looking forward to welcoming a new family to this area. We are proud to partner with the town. The town has been generous, not only donating the land on which you will see this house be built and delivered, but they also are providing financial contributions through the Affordable Housing Trust. Partnership is our key word. We believe in neighbors helping neighbors, and there are often myths about habitat that our homes are given away, that families don't have as much of a stake in it. That is actually not true. Our homes have a zero-interest mortgage, a 20-year mortgage if applicable, and they do make mortgage payments and they pay taxes, and they are invested in the community. So they will work right alongside with the volunteers and our corporate partners, but in addition, they are coming to contribute and to be citizens within this community. We've been partnering with the town now for about 7 years. This is our third project here in Duxbury, and we are so excited to kick this off this weekend with members from the Pilgrim Church who are not only volunteers and supporters, but they have given us a sizable grant to help us fund this project.
We provided the seed money for this particular habitat project. We contributed $50,000 out of our endowment fund. This endowment fund was started some years ago by people who passed away and donated money to the church, and it was put in an endowment fund. The idea being that we would accumulate the income for about 5 to 10 years and then disperse it to where the needs might be. And along the way, we partnered with Habitat with the idea of whenever they built another place in Duxbury or in this area generally, then we'd contribute that money and help get the project started.
Affordable Housing Trust is providing for Habitat the land upon which they are building. We are also providing funding for them, and we will do physical support in terms of working with the Habitat to build this house. So we're looking forward to that especially. Basically, because I'm a member of the community, I think it's important for us to have diversity. I also live right down the street from this project, so I'm looking forward to seeing a family move in here. And our committee overall is excited about the project that's forthcoming.
There is a call to action out there for those that are in this community and in neighboring towns. Come, volunteer, get involved. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's sweat equity, maybe it's that you're going to provide lunch. There is something for everybody to do here in the town of Duxbury, and we're excited. Habitat doesn't build these homes. The people of Duxbury are going to build this project.
A good example of people helping people.
That's right. And all different kinds of people, different organizations, different like landscapers, electricians, plumbers. You have all different types of tradespeople who come together and help to create a project. And it's true that a lot of people think, and I know I was one that thought that the homes were given for free. And it's nice to know that there is an investment in the families that will be living there, that they're part of it. They're part of the package, which is great.
It takes a village.
It takes a village, it does. And it's refreshing to meet two young men who really want to make a difference in the world. Before they headed off to college for the first time, they hosted a 2-day training course on how to mitigate climate change at the Southeastern Massachusetts Pine Barrens Alliance. And we stopped in for this very interesting seminar.
During his sophomore year in high school, William DeGravio attended a climate action training seminar in Chicago, hosted by former Vice President Al Gore. DeGravio later met Andrew Sandweiss at another conference, and the two have paired up to host their own climate action training seminars. The goal? To teach as many people of all ages the importance of mitigating the effects of climate change and how they can do it. These young people have taken it upon themselves to teach others about the importance of climate change awareness. They'll be hosting a 2-day seminar right here at the Southeastern Mass Pine Barrens Alliance headquarters.
The training is going to be divided into 4 parts. The first is sort of a broad look at what climate change is. The second part is looking at how scientists study climate and understand what's happening on Earth. The third part is studying a unknown effect of El Nino Hidoki. And the fourth part is called advocating for climate change, sort of talking about how you can call your elected officials and take action to combat climate change.
DeGravio draws parallels between climate change deniers of today and the efforts by Big Tobacco years ago to convince the public that smoking was perfectly healthy.
A vast majority of scientists decades ago said that smoking was bad for you, yet the big tobacco companies put out ads and said that it was okay. But it wasn't until people started getting educated on the topic that they started coming around and quitting smoking. And we believe that we should take the same steps in combating climate crisis, and it's events like these, just educating the public and getting the word out there, that is the essential first step.
For some, changing the minds of those who pull the levers of power may seem like a David versus Goliath task. But for Andrew Sandweiss, who's now entering his freshman year at Yale, it's as simple as getting out the vote.
We can vote people in. And if people learn more about, if the general American populace learns more about climate change, its real effects, and how it is indeed and not a hoax, I think then we're going to see a tide of change in the American populace in terms of their voting records and seeing, well, I'm not going to vote for this guy because he's being paid by these companies to say climate change is not real, when I know, or when I learned at this seminar, that it was real. And so if we can get more and more of the American populace, starting with the youth, because the youth is going to govern America very soon, then we have a good chance of being able to fight against those politicians.
If these two plan to make a lasting impact with their training seminars, there's certainly no time like the present.
We're cutting it close. Time is of the essence. However, if I can quote Winston Churchill here, Americans always do the right thing after they've exhausted all other options. So Al Gore's been at this for a while, so we're just continuing his work, and it takes a grassroots level engagement to get something done, but it is crunch time. There's no denying that.
In Plymouth, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
Chicago, run by Vice President.
The Good Deeds Thrift Shop in Pembroke is a fun place to visit and rummage through, where one often finds some neat old stuff. Owner Janet LeBurge is one of the most philanthropic people around and recently made a donation to the Carrie John Walker Fund. We stopped by to learn more about the foundation and to do a little visiting and some shopping too.
If you look hard enough, you can find people that, on a regular basis, perform good deeds. Coincidentally, that just happens to be the name of the thrift store where the owner does just that. When you walk inside and see the vintage selection of everything from furniture to record albums to lamps and artwork, it can be a trip down memory lane of sorts. Kind of a funny story, we had this same painting hanging up at my Nana's house when I was a kid. Janet LeBurge runs the clean-out company known as Dirty Deeds, where she hauls out the things that people want to get rid of. Just don't let her hear you call that stuff junk.
It's your junk. So it's cleaning out, hauling away stuff, downsizing. As a former social worker, I see too many people with not a lot of anything. So what we do here is we sell things, covers our costs, keeps it out of the landfill, and then when everything is covered, we give the overage to a different charity every month.
One of those charities receiving a donation from Good Deeds this month was the Carrie John Walker Foundation.
The Carrie Fund is, their tagline is saving humanity, helping humanity. So they help out school kids in Rwanda, places that have $30 a month is the average monthly income. Really nice folks, giving books, giving supplies to school kids. We wanted to help them out.
As luck would have it, we actually ran into a representative from the Carrie Fund while we were filming this piece.
The good thing about the Carrie John Walker Fund Helping Humanity is that every dollar that is raised ends up going towards helping bring educational material to Africa and also taking students from local schools to Africa so they can have that experience. This donations from Good Deeds helps to make that all possible.
Just as we were getting ready to leave, I happened to come across one more thing that took me down memory lane: my mom's old Singer sewing machine. For LeBurge, it's just one of the many intangible perks of running a thrift store.
And that's what's the coolest part about the stores. People walk through and they go, oh, my dad had that, my grandmother had that. So you get a chance to have a visit with somebody that's as important to you and you didn't know that was going to happen, and it's a cool surprise. So that's a nice thing that happens when people walk through the store. It's like visiting with their grandmother or their dad or somebody they haven't thought about in a while. That's a nice thing.
At Good Deeds Thrift Store in Pembroke, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
Martial arts is more than just kicking and punching. It's about discipline and self-confidence and building life skills. The Thurston Academy for Martial Arts in Kingston recently held a Dojo Fest, an anti-bully seminar, which was open to the public. The event was free and allowed kids and parents to see what martial arts can do for them.
We decided to do a Dojo Fest, which is a free community event, and we wanted to hold a bully seminar to help the kids learn how to be more confident, what confidence can do for them, how to defend themselves against strangers, and with the beginning of school coming, we figured that it might be a good idea to get kids more comfortable with self-defense. Some of the students that we had today performing at our Dojo Fest are students that have been with us since they were 6 years old. Now they're 17, 18, 19 years old. So to see the growth and the development and what martial arts has done for them over the years and time that they've put into the dojo is just amazing, amazing. The Dojo Fest, I think, is a unique opportunity to show people what we do in the sense that martial arts is for everybody. There's no sitting the bench in martial arts. Anybody can participate and learn valuable skills from martial arts. Kicking, punching, self-defense, self-confidence, discipline, goal setting, and it's based on a belt system, so it's positive reinforcement for positive action. Martial arts is a very unique activity in the sense that it helps kids develop their self-confidence, their discipline, pride in themselves. They just walk with better posture, they make eye contact when meeting and greeting people, and they have a better sense of security. And that goes a long way for them because that helps them make new friends. It helps them get better grades. It helps them get better into schools, colleges, and universities, job interviews, things like that. So building life skills.
Life skills, like she said, it's so true. And to see these kids, they combine almost gymnastics with their discipline, and it's amazing because the discipline they learn in the dojo academies is carried over to all aspects of their life. And I know a bunch of small children in Pembroke who do this, and it has changed their lives dramatically. It's wonderful.
Yeah, build self-confidence.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Good thing.
Yep.
When HarperCollins Publishing House released Harper Lee's Go Set a Watchman, the prequel of To Kill a Mockingbird, it was met with a lot of pushback from lovers of literature. In fact, the book was banned by several literary critics. The folks over at the Duxbury Free Library figured they ought to have a book discussion on this controversial piece of writing, so we stopped in and listened.
Today we're having a book discussion about the new Harper Lee book, which is called Go Set a Watchman. It's the book on which To Kill a Mockingbird was based. So there's been a lot of controversy about the publication of the book, to be honest, but we're not actually going to talk about that. That is just an issue to the side, and what we're focusing on today is really the literary questions of where is the story coming from, how does the new book relate to the old book, why did they change the story so dramatically from the first book that she published. And we have Mrs. Mary Ciccarelli and Mrs. Corinne Woodworth coming in to talk about it, two wonderful Duxbury High School English teachers.
It's really a first draft of To Kill a Mockingbird, and the comparison's interesting. It's not at all the same book, and I was kind of fascinated to read a little bit of the reviews that came out. I think a lot of them got it wrong. They've been focusing on Atticus as a racist. I think that's really a bad reading, bad interpretation. I think the voice of Scout's kind of gotten lost, but it's really interesting to see where she started and where her editor took her for the final copy. So, I mean, it's not as good a book. I don't think it would have stood the test of time. I don't particularly like Scout in this book, whereas she's adorable and lovable in To Kill a Mockingbird. But what this book does is show an excellent lesson in revision and what happens when you take a story and say, okay, here's an okay story, what am I going to do with it? If I were teaching it, I would teach it as a first draft, a revision, and a final draft.
Yeah, after this discussion, I certainly hope people go back and think carefully about a book that was written back in the 50s that to many of us seems extremely relevant today, you know, and just how much progress have we made, you know, what progress and what hasn't been progress. It's a book to think about. It's a discussion I hope will really challenge us to see ourselves in American society and what is our role.
Beer, food, and music. Actually, craft beer, upscale food served in food trucks, and live musical entertainment. That's what was in store for us when we headed over to Cordage Park for the first ever Hop Fest. Brian Sullivan brings us the story.
Not even inclement weather could deter the hundreds of people that poured in to attend the first annual Hop Fest. It didn't hurt that the tickets were also pre-sold. The event was held on the grounds behind the Cordage Park shops and offices, where there was plenty of room, and there were even some nice views of the water. This event reminds me of something I might have gone to in college, only this has better food, better beer, better music, and everyone here is of legal drinking age. Speaking of beer, there were over 25 different breweries on hand, with over 50 different beers to try. If you were hungry, there's a good chance there was a food truck that had the flavor you were looking for.
They're all from Boston, so they have their own niche. We got an Asian fusion truck, we got the bacon truck, because the bacon beer combo everybody likes, and then we got the dining car, which is, you know, sort of an Americana-style food, but like a new age American. So yeah, there's a lot of trendy and, you know, modern types of foods here.
That's event organizer Steve Hall. After organizing road races for a number of years, he thought he'd combine his love of craft beers with Plymouth's need for a craft beer festival such as this one.
Plymouth's craft beer scene is phenomenal downtown. We have some of the best craft beer bars. You know, they rival the ones in Boston as far as the food and the drink. So we needed a festival to complement that and, you know, help support it as well. So we have a lot of craft beer sellers here, a lot of restaurant owners and chefs are here, so it helps. It's an industry thing. It helps support the industry.
The music tied it all together, and there were some recognizable faces on the stage. No stranger to us here at PCN was Jake Hill, a noted craft beer lover. Paul Nixon, the owner of Independent Fermentations in Plymouth, was there too, playing some rhythm guitar. With close to 1,000 people on hand and room to spare, it looks like this could be the site for this annual event for years to come.
In Cordage, the Genco Development Company has been awesome to us. They want to bring attention to this area. That's the real reason we're putting an event here, putting this here, is because they want to develop this and they have big plans for it. So I want people to see how nice and how, you know, there's some beautiful waterfront here. So I want everyone to take it in. Yeah, it'll be a new annual event now, so it's only going to get bigger from here.
In Cordage Park, down by the water, Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
Drs Orders and Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital are back with allergy information from Plymouth Ear, Nose, and Throat.
Welcome to PCN Doctor's Orders. I'm Dr. Anit Patel, and this is Dr. Bernard Durante, and we're both otolaryngologists at Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital in Plymouth. Today we'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about allergies. Some people think of the fall as a time to watch football, rake leaves, and carve pumpkins. But for other people, fall time signals a time for ragweed misery. So if this is you, you're not alone. 35 million Americans in this country are affected by seasonal allergies, and this affects the U.S. economy by $7 billion per year. So the two main allergens in the fall time are ragweed and outdoor molds. So a ragweed pollen can disperse 1 billion pollen grains into the air each season. And this can be picked up by the wind, and it can travel for up to 400 miles. So even if there's not a single ragweed plant in your town, you can still be exposed to the pollen as it's being blown in from many distances. Outdoor molds are also seen in the fall, and these are seen in soil, compost piles, and leaves that sort of cover the grounds in the fall time.
For those patients suffering from allergic rhinitis, And ragweed, there are a variety of therapies available. More recently, the FDA has released sublingual immunotherapy, which is a great boon to our patients in the sense that they no longer have to undergo painful injections to be desensitized from their allergies. Once the specific allergy is diagnosed, they can now receive sublingual therapy, which is a pill you take every day and put under your tongue. And this can specifically alleviate the allergic symptoms.
What are some of the things you can do to protect yourself? Well, ragweed pollen and mold spores are usually dispersed into the air early morning, and especially on windy days. So if you're going to be outside between the hours of 5 a.m. and 10 a.m., you should wear a mask while outside. During the fall, you should keep your windows closed so that the outdoor pollens aren't blown indoors. You should also keep your air conditioner on in the fall, as this helps filter a lot of the external air that is brought indoors. If you're going to be raking leaves in the fall, you also want to wear a mask. And also, if you turn on your air conditioner in the car, you want to roll down your window at least for a couple of minutes, because this will help disperse the mold spores outside before they're sort of cooped up in your car with you. And if you've done these avoidance measures and still having problems, then you should see your local ear, nose, and throat physician for a full evaluation and allergy testing. The modern day advances in allergies have really made a big impact to the point where you don't have to suffer in the fall. You can actually enjoy what the New England weather has to offer this time of year.
Thanks for watching. This has been PCN's Doctor's Orders.
Thanks for watching this week's show. Replay times are listed at PACTV.org, where you can find links to all of our stories.
PCN is also on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, where you can see previews and watch full-length episodes.
We are looking to tell some stories about giving this holiday season. So if you know a person, a business, or an organization that has made a contribution to others this year, or have a great holiday story to tell, please email us at kim@pactv.org.
We're off next week for the holiday, but back September 17th, so we'll see you then.